My name is Jeff Jedrusik. I am the Chief of Police of the Westland Police Department. I want to welcome you to the first edition of Special Report. Nationwide, there have been a number of highly publicized issues that have added concern for the communities and affected the trust and transparency of law enforcement agencies. We have had several within the state of Michigan and even a couple here in the city of Westland. Recently, there have been many protests throughout our country, many of them asking for police reform and transparency. Many of these requested reform changes the Westland Police Department is already performing and have been doing so for many years. Others are newer concepts that we are currently working towards. In Westland, we are committed to community partnership. I believe the best tool we have to accomplish partnership is communication and public awareness. If the community is provided with a better understanding of what the police department already does in regards to these concerns, there will be an elevated level of confidence. I participate in numerous community discussions and public forums. The reality is that with the busy lives many residents live, they are simply unable to attend in-person forums. That is why moving forward, I will be hosting regular episodes of Special Report right here on WLND. Through these videos, I hope to share information with our community on a wide range of topics. I will also be providing a means for the public to contact me directly in order to suggest specific topics or to forward questions you may have. There are numerous law enforcement topics that I feel are important to be informative on and to be transparent about. Some of the topics I plan to discuss as we move forward are the Westland Police hiring practices, the Police Department Recruitment Team, Police Department training, bias-based policing reviews, our use of force analysis, our process for handling citizens' complaints, and our officer early warning systems. These videos will also provide the police department an opportunity to detail our enforcement strategies on regular concerns such as fireworks, parades, and even snow emergencies. During today's segment, I want to start off by sharing with the community information on a new transparency dashboard we are currently working on. After, I am going to introduce Lieutenant Kyle Dawley. Lieutenant Dawley is the Lieutenant of Police Training and Professional Standards for the Westland Police Department. Lieutenant Dawley will review the Westland Police Department training curriculum with you. After Lieutenant Dawley, Deputy Chief Brian Miller will provide some information on the Westland Police Department's recruitment team and our hiring processes. Deputy Chief Miller will discuss how we hire, our feeder programs, and our police recruitment team. The Westland Police Department has recently partnered with a company named Alta Vista Technologies. This company has created a new intelligence risk management software program named ARCS Alert. This management application is designed to help prevent problems from occurring within a police agency. The program allows for two configurable user dashboards. The first is an internal dashboard which will provide data directly to me as the Chief of Police, which will allow me to analyze things such as police pursuits, use of force, officer productivity, and officers' behavior patterns. The second dashboard will provide up-to-date transparency information about the police department to the public. This dashboard will show the public things such as crime rates, arrest data, citation data, citizens' complaints, and officer use of force. This program will be completely accessible to the public through the city's website at thecityofwestland.com. With this program, the City of Westland Police Department will be providing next-level transparency. There are over 1,000 data factors to identify department and officer risk. This will allow the administration to turn data into intelligent, timely, trusted, and actionable information. Here is a very quick demo of the product. Understand we are still in the development stages of this, but plan to build upon this quickly and have it fully operational within the next 30 days.
Well, my name is Charles Kraft, and my background is I have approximately 39 years of law enforcement experience. 32 of that was spent in operational law enforcement, and the remaining 7 years was in the training field. We collect an incredible amount of data, whether it be in a digitized form, in a paper form, or in a report form. We're collecting this data already. What ARCS Alert does is it allows all that data to be integrated into one system so that you can look at it, and then to analyze it and look at it as it relates to each other, so I can look at any police officer and determine their entire career right before my eyes. A record of their involvement in the use of force, vehicular pursuits, citizens' complaints, other internal investigations, sick time use, injuries that occurred on duty, overtime usage, a lawsuit history, and analyzing all that data and then giving the administrators an alert that you may have a problem here gives us a great opportunity to remediate very early in the process and then save the department, the municipality, and in many cases the officer a great deal of trouble. When you have the proper analysis, you're able to provide the public with clear information as to what really occurred. We've recognized that the people have a high expectation for information and an immediacy of response. You need information, and ARCS Alert is going to provide a platform to people to have that information.
As you can see, it is clearly an impressive product. Again, we hope to have this fully implemented within the next 30 days. There will be more information to come about that once we have it implemented. As we continue to present more of these forums, please feel free to contact myself and the Deputy Chiefs with any questions you may have or suggestions for future topics. You can reach us at administration@WLPD.net. After a short break, Lieutenant Kyle Dawley will be here to discuss specific training programs at the Westland Police Department. Thank you.
Rainfall replenishes our fresh water. We call it stormwater, and it flows off buildings, driveways, and roads into storm drains, through pipes and ditches, into our lakes, rivers, and streams. We can all play a part in helping to keep the system from being overwhelmed, which can lead to flooding. Plant a tree, native plants with deep roots, or better yet, a rain garden. Use a rain barrel to collect water to use later on your lawn. Disconnect your downspout. Keep it fresh. Keep it flowing. Learn more at mi1water.org.
Hello, I'm Lieutenant Dawley of the Westland Police Department, and my current position is Training and Professional Standards. The largest and most important responsibility of this position is department-wide training. When we began preparing for our initial accreditation back in 2014, we recognized the importance to expand our department training. In order to accomplish this task, I made contact with representatives from the Michigan Commission on Law Enforcement Standards, also known as MCOLS, the Michigan Municipal Risk Management Authority, also known as MMRMA, and the Commission on Accreditation for Law Enforcement Agencies, also known as CALEA. During these conversations, I, along with the cadre of instructors from our department, were able to develop and maintain for the City of Westland Police Department one of the top police training curriculums in the state. Everyone in the department receives training in anti-bias policing and cultural awareness. Although this training is held annually, it is not the same course repeated annually. I believe it is important to receive training from a variety of sources, including classroom settings and distance learning. For example, our agency brought in Victor Green of Respect Training and Consulting for a full day of instructor-led training in anti-bias policing. We've also brought in Karen Rivard and Matt Elzinga, who are certified fair and impartial policing instructors. They provided instruction to our agency on fair and impartial policing, which was in response to the President's Task Force on 21st Century Policing established by former President Obama. This training focuses on the implicit bias, which social psychologists have explained. This type of bias manifests at the unconscious level, even in people who consciously hold non-prejudiced attitudes. Our agency has sent police officers to be trained as instructors in law enforcement active diffusion strategies, which is commonly referred to as de-escalation. With certified instructors now in-house, Westland police officers are now regularly trained on de-escalation tactics. We have also hired many new police officers and police service aides since the initial training. All new hires to our agency receive a week of in-service training prior to handling their first call for service with a field training officer. During this training, the officers instructed on department's response to resistance policy, as well as firearms and deadly force policies. Signing for these policies is required to indicate understanding before being authorized by the department to carry a firearm or less lethal device. Additionally, the week-long in-service training includes, at minimum, firearms, less lethal devices including taser, OC or personal defense spray, and baton. De-escalation, defensive tactics, evidence processing, searches, high-risk traffic stops, vehicle pursuits, report writing, citations, crash reports, impounds, canine operations, and a legal update from our city prosecutor. I mentioned earlier a field training officer, which is commonly referred to as an FTO. A field training officer is a veteran officer that we trust to train and evaluate our new officers. Furthermore, the FTOs complete a 40-hour course to become a certified FTO. This course is a nationally recognized system used to teach, train, and evaluate new officers so that each officer is prepared to function as a solo officer at the conclusion of their training cycle. The training cycle consists of an intensive on-the-job training and daily performance evaluations by their field training officer. The Westland Police Department also has a patrol sergeant that all FTOs report to, and he is specifically trained in how to administer, manage, and coordinate our agency's field training program. The FTO process for a newly appointed officer is approximately 15 weeks after their first week of in-service training. This is broken down into phases of training. The new officer is assigned to an FTO, and the first week of the program, the officer is essentially on a ride-along with the FTO. They are still in uniform and are certified police officers. However, the objective is for them to learn through observation. The next 4 weeks, the new officer works more closely with the FTO, and their progress is strictly evaluated in an objective manner. After successful completion of Phase 1, the new officer moves on to Phase 2 with a different FTO for 4 weeks. There is much more work expected from the new officer in Phase 2. If successful in Phase 2, the new officer moves on to Phase 3 with yet another FTO for 4 weeks. This is where the new officer is expected to do the vast majority of the police work. If Phase 3 is successfully completed, the new officer moves on to the shadow phase. This is where the new officer returns to the first FTO and is expected to work as if they are the only officer in the patrol car. The FTO is in plain clothes and evaluates the new officer for a period of 2 weeks. If the shadow phase is a success, the officer is now assigned to a shift for patrol by him or herself. This is a stringent process, and not every newly hired officer completes this program with success. The Westland Police Department does not lower our standards to retain new officers. If at any time during the FTO program it is determined that the new officer does not meet our standards, we end their employment for cause. All of the first week in-house training and the FTO program is only after a 16-week basic police academy. Additionally, this training and FTO program are mandatory for any new officer, whether they are fresh out of the police academy or they are a veteran officer from another agency that we hire. The Westland Police Department trains in response to resistance or use of force several times per year in many different ways. The training ranges from firearms qualification, classroom instruction that includes policy review, live fire pistol simulation, defensive tactics, taser recertification, and dynamic scenarios. The dynamic scenarios-based response to resistance training is something unique that officers from our agency approached me about a few years back. The cadre consists of our defensive tactics and de-escalation instructors, combined with the taser certification instructors. Each officer attending this training wears their duty belt just like on patrol. The difference is instead of bullets, there are pistols loaded with real action markers or paint-filled bullets. Their taser also is loaded with training cartridges that still discharge the probes and wires, but without the shock. They also carry their baton, and the OC spray is water instead of the actual irritant. The cadre reviews body-worn footage throughout the year to come up with the scenarios to use in this training. The scenarios used are intense and rapidly evolving situations that a Westland police officer actually went through. Our cadre is able to recreate that event as a training moment for every patrol officer and supervisor. Not every officer is going to react the same way, so the cadre plays off the responding officer. As an example, if proper de-escalation strategies are not used by the officer, the cadre reacts negatively. If de-escalation is used, the cadre is likely to reinforce that by reacting positively. Still, there are scenarios that the officers can attempt to de-escalate perfectly, however the subject refuses to comply. We have found this training to be extremely valuable, not only from the administrative standpoint, but the officers enjoy this training as well. In addition to this scenario training is our CAPS machine. The Westland Police Department's firearms cadre are also certified CAPS instructors. Within our gun range, the instructor set up a large disposable screen and the machine projects a scenario just like a movie. Officers are wearing their duty belts, and this is a live fire training with their duty pistol. The instructor begins the scenario, and the officer is forced to make a split-second decision to shoot or not to shoot as the scenario plays out. Every officer goes through multiple scenarios and are also given don't shoot scenarios as well as shoot scenarios. This way, the officer must make a decision because not all of them result in lawful intervention using deadly force. Lastly, this machine has over 1,000 different scenarios to choose from, so it is highly unlikely that an officer will see a scenario a second time. Another area of importance is driving. Our patrol officers drive 12 hours a day, which is the equivalent of driving to Atlanta, Georgia. During their 12-hour shift, they respond to a variety of emergencies throughout their shift. Although pursuits are a low frequency, they are a high liability event. Therefore, several years ago, we sent a select group of our officers to become certified emergency vehicle operations instructors. Since then, we have annually held a full day of training that begins with a classroom-style lecture. This lecture includes a legal update and policy review, which stresses the importance of making reasonable decisions regarding the need for apprehension versus the risk involved. From there, we head out to the track in small groups, where each officer goes through various individual stations with an instructor. After completing each station with proficiency, the officer must pass a test. The test is a culmination of all stations, and the officer must do so without error. With the increasing concern about mental health issues in our community, we make it a priority that all personnel receive annual training in a variety of mental health areas, including autism awareness. We have 2 officers that are certified instructors in mental health first aid. That includes autism awareness. Mental health first aid examines and explains the nature of people with social, mental, or behavioral problems and equips our officers with the tools they need to safely handle these subjects, many of whom are close to suicide. Dealing with an emotionally disturbed person can be one of the most challenging encounters for an officer on patrol. On a regular basis, they train the entire department in a classroom setting that includes understanding autism spectrum disorder. The Westland Police Department continuously cycles officers through specialized training outside of the agency as well. The purpose of this is to train the trainer so we can send 1 or 2 officers to a course and they can bring back those new skills and knowledge to share with the rest of the department, such as the mental health first aid course I mentioned. In addition, I will list off many of the courses our officers receive training in. These courses include, but are not limited to, response to resistance, instructs officers how to react when verbal direction and simple handcuffing are met with resistance, de-escalation, anti-bias policing, ethics, less lethal devices such as the taser, OC spray, or baton, critical incident stress management, which is an adaptive short-term psychological helping process that focuses solely on an immediate and identifiable problem, suicide prevention, first-line supervision, which we send officers that are transitioning to the rank of sergeant to receive a full week of leadership and supervision training specific to police work. Professional development, active assailant, which instructs officers how to respond to and handle an individual actively engaging in killing. Counter ambush for patrol officers. Critical supervisory issues. Interview techniques. It's a non-accusatory interview designed to develop investigative and behavioral information, as well as advanced interview techniques. Interpersonal communication. Commercial motor vehicle enforcement. All hazards, including terrorism. The CAPS firearm simulator, as I mentioned previously, sexual harassment in the workplace, speed measurement, where officers are certified and recertified in using a radar and LiDAR device to detect speeding motorists, advanced roadside impairment driving enforcement. It is designed to help officers become more proficient in detecting, apprehending, testing, and prosecuting impaired drivers, first aid, CPR, and AED, motorcycle officer. Below 100, training on preventable line of duty deaths and injuries by reinforcing that officers wear their seatbelt, watch their speed, and wear their vest. Kinetic energy impact projectile is our beanbag shotgun designed as a less lethal option. Patrol rifle, prisoner care and management, corrections and jail operations, missing persons. Criminal intelligence is focused on how officers on patrol can disseminate information to other bureaus or agencies. report writing, surveillance, accident investigation, traffic enforcement, health and wellness, agonal breathing and other breathing problems, which teaches officers how to recognize symptoms of a severe medical emergency even if the person is speaking. The goal of our department training is to help our officers excel in all aspects of the job. We also recognize that we can never stop making progress, and we are committed to learning and growing with the citizens of Westland.
Hi, I'm Deputy Chief Brian Miller of the Westland Police Department. As part of my duties here at the Westland Police Department, I oversee our recruitment team. The recruitment team was formed in 2015 and is made up of 8 volunteer members of our department. Members of the team are responsible for carrying out various activities throughout the year. These duties include attending job fairs, conducting ride-alongs with people who are interested in a career in law enforcement, as well as representing the department at community events, as well as providing input on ways we can attract people to this profession. The main goal of our recruitment team is to attract qualified individuals to come work at the Westland Police Department. Also, as a team and as a department, we have always focused on attracting candidates that are more representative of the citizens we serve. Before I get into some of the efforts we've been taking to recruit new officers, I'd like to speak a little bit about the process of becoming a police officer in general, as I find this to be a subject that is not very well understood. Becoming a police officer is not something that happens overnight. Each police officer in the state of Michigan must receive at least 594 hours of training, usually administered over 16 weeks at one of the regional police academies located throughout our state. You must also pass a licensing exam that is given at the conclusion of the academy. From there, you are sworn in by a department and become a licensed police officer. There are 3 different ways to attend one of these police academies. The first is to be hired by a law enforcement agency and attend the academy as an employee of that department. Mainly because of budgetary constraints, this route to become a police officer only applies if you're going to work at one of the larger agencies in the state, such as the Detroit Police Department or Michigan State Police. The second option is for you to put yourself through the police academy before being hired. Going this route allows you to apply to any department you want to, but you must also pay for the cost of the police academy. This is about $6,000. Also, because the academy is full-time, it's often difficult or impossible to maintain any type of work while you are attending the academy. The last way of attending the police academy is through a college that offers it as part of their curriculum, usually in a 2-year or a 4-year degree program. This way, when you graduate with your degree, you are eligible to be hired as a police officer. For more information on how to become a police officer, please visit our recruitment team website or the website for the Michigan Commission on Law Enforcement Standards. So now that we know how to become a police officer in general, let's get down to the important question. How do you become a police officer in Westland? Like I mentioned earlier, hiring someone off the street and sending them to the police academy is tough on budgets. Because of this, Westland, like most departments in Michigan, requires that applicants have already attended the police academy before they can apply. As we've continued to try to recruit the best candidates available, we realized that the financial burden of a police academy might be an obstacle to otherwise qualified candidates. This is why we, at the Westland Police Department, have come up with a hybrid system of recruiting new police officers. One of the programs at the Westland Police Department that we are very proud of is our Police Service Aid, or PSA program. Along with our Police Explorer program, which is a program for high school age kids interested in law enforcement, we like to refer to the PSA program as one of our feeder programs. The PSA program is a part-time paid position that is responsible for things such as answering the station phones, tending to prisoners, and also taking reports for minor incidents. In addition to earning valuable experience in the field of law enforcement, police service aides also earn bonus points that they can use in the testing process, which I'll explain here in a second. But most importantly, they can earn an opportunity to be hired by the Westland Police Department and put through the academy as an employee or a sponsored candidate, which was the first option I explained earlier in how to get into the police academy. Police service aides earn this opportunity through what we call the Chief's Exemption program. In order to qualify for the Chief's Exemption program, you must be a police service aide in good standing with at least 18 months of service at the Westland Police Department. After a review of the employee's evaluations and an interview with the chief, those who qualify for the exemption are allowed to test with the other applicants for the position of entry-level police officer, a process that I will explain here in a minute. Once we reach the police service aide's name on our hiring list, we will hire them, pay for their police academy and necessary equipment, and they will then attend the police academy, all while collecting a salary from us. This is a great program for the police department, a great opportunity for the employee, and this has been a great way for us to attract quality candidates, all while diversifying our department. Since we have started this Chief's Exemption program, 8 of our last 16 officers have come from this program. And of those 8 officers, 4 of them are either minorities or females. The City of Westland is a civil service community. This means that the hiring process is handled by the independent City of Westland Police and Fire Civil Service Commission, not directly by the police department. Applicants must pass a written test and interview, which are both administered by the Civil Service Commission. After that process is complete, the candidates are ranked by order of their composite score and then hired from that list as vacancies occur. Before an appointment to the police department, applicants must pass a thorough background investigation as well as physical and psychological testing. And before being allowed to patrol the streets on their own, they must pass a 16-week-long training program and a 1-year probationary period. Anyone who does not meet the standards of the program is let go. Although the Civil Service Commission is an independent entity, we still work closely with them in our recruitment process. Programs such as the Chief's Exemption program were only possible due to the Commission's willingness to work with us to incorporate language into the police and fire civil service rules and regulations. The Commission has also been instrumental in making rule changes that allow us to accept applications from people who are enrolled in but have yet to complete the academy. They have also changed testing procedures to make sure we attract as many applicants as we can, and they have also always been willing to hold special meetings when needed to get these measures implemented, sometimes on short notice. We truly want to thank our Civil Service President Dewey Reeves, Commissioner Grant Allen, and Commissioner Bishop Luke McClendon for their partnership. Make sure to keep an eye out on our Facebook page and city website, as we always post our police officer job openings there when they occur. Also, if you are interested in the PSA program, you can email us at psacoord@wlpd.net for more information. The process of becoming a police officer can seem a little daunting at first. However, that is what our recruitment team is here for. If you ever have any questions about the process or are looking for advice, please reach out to us. Members of our team are also available to speak to your group or organization about the process of becoming a police officer. Please email us at recruitment@wlpd.net with those questions or requests.